Catan Histories Struggle for Rome is a little bit of a cash-in program that was going in on the Catan series back when it was called Settlers of Catan. And what they would do is they would take a historical story or element and try to implement that into Catan by really using a variant of the game. You have the core game there, and we're going to build off of it to give you like a historical experience in the game. So what you have here is a struggle for Rome, and I think that it works in a lot of aspects, and this is widely considered maybe one of the better ones in the series. For me, it still goes on a little bit too long. It still has a Catan in it, which wasn't my gateway game, so I don't have any nostalgia for it. So it really wasn't a game that I really enjoyed. I don't like the trading in it that much. A lot of times when I'm gaming with my group, I'm the guy that buys the game, so it's just piling on me. It's okay. The trading is good and people are willing to trade and make these wild things. I feel like the game moves quicker and it moves better. And this one, there really isn't a catch-up mechanism, I don't feel like. So if somebody gets ahead, they're probably going to stay ahead, and that's going to turn some people off. If you're a history buff for Rome, I think you'll like this one a little bit more. There's some interesting things and some complexity that's added to the system and put on. But I think one of the great things about Catan was the sheer simplicity of it. Sure, it was complex compared to maybe some other games, excluding Monopoly, which is actually a very complicated game with a lot of rules. But Catan took that simplicity, really just generating resources, you're buying them, or you can trade with people. That's kind of what you're doing at the core mechanism of the game. This adds a little bit to it. You got factions involved, you got other things going on, so it adds to it a little bit. The game does have a lot of replayabilities. The map is going to be pretty static, and there's a lot of Catans that you can buy where the map will change over time and kind of change the experience. It's going to be very static. But if you're a history buff, particularly in Rome, I think you would enjoy this more. If you're a fan of Catan, you might want to check this one out. For me, I'm not a big fan of Catan, so this one will be a Purge for me. Here's Catan Histories, The Struggle for Rome. This is kind of an older game now based on a history series they did with Catan. We'll look it up. You're going to have a rule book, which we'll take a look at in a few minutes. You're going to get these little player aids. These are cheap, and they feel really cheap, and I feel like they could rip. But you're just going to put them down on the board. I suppose they'll work just fine. This is the board that you're going to see here. This is a giant board. It's going to be of Rome. I'll pull that out in just a second. You're going to get a custom insert kind of here. You're going to have some wooden dice, 6-sided dice I have here. You're going to have these little miniatures here. You're going to have little supply wagons. You have these armies on horses, and you have people that just here. And these aren't like CMON miniatures or anything, but it's very good for the time period. These during the time periods could have been just wooden blocks. I'm really glad they're not. You're going to have a bunch of tiles and tokens. I should point out, man, these are really nice. So these coins are like plastic. Very good, especially for the time period. Here's the Legionnaire that you'll have. So you're going to get another miniature here. You get a very small one. And you're going to get a deck of cards that are... little small Hobbit-sized cards, if you will. Very much in the Settlers of Catan universe, you've seen these cards before. They have a picture of grain on them or stone. It is what it is, but very nice. And I think this whole package comes together really well here. Let's set this aside, and we'll take a look at the board for a moment. This thing is huge. Let's see. It has the back. What you can see here is a picture of Rome, so there's some printing on the back. But when you open this thing up, it is huge. I don't know if I can get it all in on the picture, but you can kind of see here just kind of how big this thing is. You can see a place over here for your tracking. You're going to have the big board here that you have for Catan. So that's what you're going to get. Very good. Here's the rule book for Struggle for Rome. You can see a picture of the components up here and a explanation of the board, which is very handy. When you open it up, you're going to have setting up the game over here. Not a whole lot of pictures, but some. And then introduction to the game, some historical background to it. Here's a round overview. This will be what you're doing. And then it kind of opens up and gives you more detailed explanation with pictures and examples, as you can see. On the back, you're going to have special victory points broken out, development cards, how the game works, and then you'll have some special cases here, a Q&A that will explain things. As you can see, plenty of pictures, examples. I thought the rulebook was very good, very fashionable. I think it did a really good job. I'm going to briefly go over the game. I'm not going to teach you how to play necessarily, but I'm going to show you the flow of the game. So what you're going to do is you're going to roll the dice to start at your turn in a 1 and 4. If you look up here, there's a wheel with the numbers. So you'll cover up 1 and you'll cover up 4. And then you'll get the resources for those spaces on the board. And you're going to roll the dice a total of 4 times, but you can't roll the same one twice. So in this case, we rolled a 3. That's fine. You get the resources for 3. You'll cover it up and you'll do another roll. I can't do 3 again, so I'll get 5 here. So when you roll these dice, it's fine. You're going to roll, but you need 4 different outcomes on the dice. If you're to roll a 7, then what you're going to do is you're going to take the Legionnaire. You can move into any area that you want. And then if somebody else is adjacent to that location, then what you do is you could steal a card from their hand. So he works kind of like the robber, but you can move him anywhere on the board you want and then steal from this person. Next thing you'll be able to do is you'll be able to trade with people. You can trade resources. So if I wanted to trade a wheat for 2 stone, I could trade with somebody else, or I can always trade with the bank at a 3-for-1 ratio. So that you'll be able to trade, and then you will build things around the board. And a few things that you can build is you can build extra warriors. I can build horsemen on the board. I can build settlers to put out. And these all have a different cost. You've probably done this in Catan before, and you put these out on the board, and you can move these things around as you go. Next thing you'll do is you'll take any actions with your horsemen. Then you can take any action you want with your warriors, and that's how the game will progress. Now, in each phase, you can play one of your development cards if you so choose. So if you happen to have one of these cards, in each phase, a matter of 4 cards can play on a turn. And everybody will do the same thing. So if I take my horseman action them first, then everybody will take theirs. Then my warrior action, everybody will take theirs. Remember, you can always play development card in your phase. So one of the things you can do for these guys, whether it's horsemen or warriors are going to act as the same, is you can move them. It's always 1 free 1, then you would spend coins to move additional locations if you want to get out there. Now, if you want to take over an area, what you'd be looking for is to have a number higher than your defense score. If you're higher than that, then you'll be able to settle the area in your end. Then as the game progresses, people will be settling more and more of these areas as they go through, and you'll have these areas and they'll start filling up as the game progresses through. Like most of these, there's other ways to score points, like here's a Scourge of Rome. You have a development card you can play to score points. First 1 to 10 points is going to be your winner. Now, a little bit less emphasis on trading in this one, a little bit more moving these guys around and trying to explore as you go through, and you're going to want to be able to get as many of these locations as you can, and you'll be spreading across the board to do so. Who should buy this? Very easy. Fans of Catan that were working this variant or something different. If you're a fan of history or Rome in general, I think this will go up for you, particularly Rome. I think it will go up. If you're looking for a more complex Catan game or experience, I think this will hit that for you. If you're new into gaming and you play some Catan and you want something familiar but different, I think this is something you can go into. If you lean towards desiring or enjoying the history of Rome, I think this will fit in for you. Everybody else is probably not something you want to check out unless you just want to see some of these Catan histories, and this happens to be one that you want to see. For me, this is absolutely a purge. I didn't really care for Catan, and I don't really care for this version either.